What up, everybody? I am back with the one and only JJ Finesser. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, man? Glad to be back.
Yeah, let's go. Since the last interview I did with JJ, we've met in person twice, right? You came out to Minnesota, stayed for like a week. That was transformative to say the least. And then we were all just in Miami. So, yeah, this interview is going to be awesome. We're going to touch on everything. JJ is just a perfect living example of someone who's willing to apply the process, right? In terms of Techno Tutor, Destiny, DIP, all the points. And I see JJ doesn't make excuses. So let's get into the mind of JJ Finesser, open this up. And I got a bunch of questions, man, ranging from music to life to purpose and all that. So let's just do it. Fill me at first, the music, bro. I see you popping off with the music. Fill us in.
Yes. So the first interview we had was December last year,
Yeah,
around that time. Since then, man, I'm official. I'm
let's
certified.
go. Yeah,
Like,
I see that IG. Your Instagram game is amazing. Everyone go follow him. It's just at JJ Finesser, right?
yes.
Yep.
And you'll see the official certification. And that is only because I use a certain tool.
Mm.
Right? Like, I
Yep.
mean, it's in the background, right? But I just want to touch on that point right there. Um, because I was trying so hard, like last year, anything that I could do to reach a certain level. Um, but it's really about who, not how,
Mm.
right? So it started off by going to Miami, right? We were in Miami, was able to make connections at the Techno Tutor Leadership Conference 2022 in Miami, where I performed and had a live concert for the upcoming single Death or Destiny coming out August 25th, 2022. Right. So this is the first single for the album Death or Destiny, and it's the single's Death or Destiny. The album is Death or Destiny. The reason being is really studying the music game, understanding what has worked. Tori's B.I.G., first album, Ready to Die. Second album, Life After Death. Death or Destiny, I'm wearing a Tupac shirt right now, but Death or Destiny is truly what we're about, right? It's the way the world is right now, the way humanity is, it's death or destiny. So I've made my decision to choose destiny,
Mm.
right? Spelled Desteni.
And what does
And
destiny mean for anyone who's
equal,
never heard of this or wants to hear from you?
keep it simple, right? Equality and oneness, right? We're all made of the same matter. We're all equal and one with life, right? And living by principle. That's really what it's about, living by principle.
Mhm.
And since our last interview till now, right, visibly living the principles, applying the principles, I've seen my life exponentially grow
Yeah.
because it's who, not how, right? For instance, I got introduced to Techno Tutor from Seth, right? That was the who. Shout out Seth, Big Yeti. And then Seth, right? That's how I met you.
Hmm.
And then I met Ali Yusuf. Shout out
Hmm.
Ali, was able to actually get my music in front of the right people so that I could become official and certified on Instagram. So that's an example of who, not how. And that leads me to the next point of um, the music is the influence, right? It's auditory communication. So if we are programmable beings in a programmable reality, why not use auditory communication to program reality to what's best? For instance, um, so my music is tuned to 432 hertz, which scientifically reduces anxiety, lowers blood pressure, synchronizes both brain hemispheres. Right now, what if my message is actually congruent to the way reality works? Right. I know we were talking off camera about the resonant C, where the power of techno tutors, this is the only time in human history where we have control of our own destiny. Because, right, this is the only tool where we can actually program ourselves correctly to do
Hmm.
what is best, right? Where we can trust one another. Um, so that's why it's death or destiny. Right? Like,
Yeah.
this is the like I want to stress to all the watchers and the viewers out there, this is the only time in human history where we have this opportunity to take control of our destiny and equalize ourselves, become equal and one with all that is life. This is this is the only time in human history that this is this has been possible, right? Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's why it's death or destiny. So that was a
I
kind of
love that, man.
way of bringing it first full circle.
Hmm. Yeah. And for anyone who's really not familiar with some of these concepts that JJ is bringing up, so we all hear about this idea of destiny, right? Like, oh, you have a destiny, I have a destiny. But that destiny, if that's the case, like you got programmed with some pretty messed up stuff. That's not an ideal destiny, right? Like we look at the world, man. I know in our first phone call, we connected on this. Like every day, there's mass suffering in the world. Like there's stuff that people don't like to talk about. They don't want to look at. They like to be in their own bubble and not look at the reality of like the atrocities of the world. But you and I both see like, look, we can actually do something about that, right? And so you've been in music, right? I've been more in business entrepreneurship, but it's this alignment in let's actually make the destiny of the world, right? The
Yeah,
destiny of the universe, one that's best for everybody, so everybody can win. And that involves us having to be really creative in how we approach things. But that's why we use those tools, TechnoTutor specifically, right? Self-forgiveness writing, and then this community. So what have you noticed since our last interview with your use of TechnoTutor and how it's continuing to support you, right? Because there's that initial, hype and it's great, but I mean, it's a 7+ year journey, right? So how has that been for you now getting more acquainted with it?
right. So I want to mention to all the viewers too. After my last interview, after our last interview, that's when I missed a day of Techno Tutor. I've only missed one day of Techno Tutor, and that was after the last interview. Right, I got Techno Tutor October 30th, 2021. What is it? August 9th.
Yeah.
I've only missed one day, and it was around late December. But that's because that already existed within me. So using Techno Tutor to gain access to my unconscious of why did I miss a day of Techno Tutor, right? And actually writing like, oh, okay, and forgiving myself. Because there's a tendency within all of us, right? We start a new habit and we'll miss one day and just completely disregard it and not persist through it and persevere, right? To actually push through and never give up. So I could have dwelled in the pit of self-pity and just tricked off, but rather using the tool to investigate why. And the results that I've gotten in my life from October till now have been a direct correlation to my use of TechnoTutor and the tools, right? But specifically TechnoTutor, it's because it's like a muscle. Using TechnoTutor every day, right? We're purifying our vocabulary because our reality right now is based upon the seeds of our education. The reality we live in is because of the seeds of our education. And if we went to school, the 99.99, I forget, I'm just gonna say there's 100% chance that we weren't actually properly educated within education, with the word education being every word that we can spell, comprehend, and process. Like every single day, I'm more and more amazed at how powerful TechnoTutor is. Because there's that the shiny object syndrome of it, and right, the instant gratification of it can't be this easy. How can a tool do this? But life is simple. The mind is complicated. It really is. Right? Just use your TechnoTutor every day to support yourself. Since then, I've been making more money. I've stabilized my life. Right, official on Instagram. Music's jumping up. Like things are working well because I'm programming myself with TechnoTutor. Right? It's very simple, right?
Yeah. People just like to overcomplicate it because their programming so messed up. So yeah, I really want to echo that. Like life is simple, the mind is complicated. So we're using the simplest tool, a tool that can get the words you use and understand clear. And then you can build with that. Right. So that's cool, man. Let's talk a little bit about the vision and where you see your music headed. Um, what's the next year or two look like from what you can see right now? What's the intention? What are you working on?
Absolutely. So August 25th, the single Death or Destiny is going to be out, right? It's debuting on August 25th. For everyone that was in Miami, y'all heard the song. Right? How was the performance, bro? Like,
Yo, that was the best performance I've been to because it had real purpose to it. I've been to hundreds and hundreds of concerts over my life. That was the best, again, because it has a real meaning behind everything that's based in reality, not some feel good. Oh yeah, no, it's like this is the practical stuff.
yeah, yeah, I appreciate it, man. That's the vision. Performing on stage in Miami in front of the entire techno tutor community. That's where I saw myself. Like, this is where I can have the greatest influence in a certain industry, in a certain space, right? So I need to go on tour and perform. And then within that, right, host clubhouses. And think about this, right? We've all been to concerts where people sell merchandise, right? Here's some merchandise right here, but it's not really merchandise, right? If people go to a JJ Finesser concert, right, there's going to be a lasting impact if they buy Techno Tutor. Think about it, right? It's like you go to a concert to feel good and then it's back to reality. Why not go to a concert and then actually use something that can last you a lifetime more than just a memory? Like,
Yeah.
that's the vision right there.
Mm.
And it's so clear how Techno Tutor has directly improved my life because the results I've been getting are tangible.
Mm-hmm.
You could just go to my Instagram. You could just look at the music I've been making, right? Like, everything is because of the tools. That's no cap to anyone watching. That's no cap, right? Like, I'm keeping it a stack. It's really that simple, right? And the vision. So let's just transition to this real quick. So Jay-Z, right? And I'm just harping on how powerful it is to have a community, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you introduced me to the book Who Not How,
Mm-hmm.
right? From reading the book, things started clicking in my mind because all I think about is music every single day, and I study music. So Jay-Z, multi-billionaire, perhaps, right? Multi-billionaire, married to Beyonce, famous. I know who his who's are, right? Like, his Dame Dash and Biggs. He created Rockefeller. Jay-Z, those are his who's. But that's how we got started. That's how we made it. He had who's. Master P, right? Master P moved from Louisiana, from the Calliope projects in like 1990 to Richmond, California. Richmond's like 40 minutes away from where I live. Had a record store called No Limit Records. Used to sell records or like tapes out the store, and was making music 91, 92, 93, 94. No one was checking for Master P. They thought his music was a joke until he met a who. He had a manager because he went to school to go study music. He met TC's manager, right? And then King George too, TRU, the Real Untouchables. And then from then, right, from leveraging his who's, and then moving back to Louisiana, and then his who's were his brothers, right? And then you have No Limit Records, right? Like, that's my vision for myself. That's where I see myself going. And I know with these tools, but especially with the Techno Tutor community, my life is full of who's, right? Like, I encourage everyone to really look into what it is to be part of the Techno Tutor community.
Yeah, and because we'll have our links below this, so you can reach out if you want more details on that. I just want to hit this other point too, is some other who's that are incredibly important. Shout out Thomas, shout out and his brother Max,
Yeah.
and then Keith, Maya, Ben, because what y'all are doing in the Bay Area of California is epic. I mean, you got the clubhouses,
Yeah.
so that's going to keep evolving, and then you guys have the office opened as well, or in the works of that, because part of the vision for people who don't know anything about TechnoTutor is, if you look at what Jeff Bezos did to the retail industry with Amazon, or you look at Bill Gates building Microsoft, in like the grind and the building, but also the success. That's what TechnoTutor is to the education system. So look at outdated universities, overpriced student loan debt. You got private schools. You got this whole shenanigans you saw during pandemic. All this, kids falling behind. It's ripe for disruption and transformation. And that's, I mean, you see JJ, you watch our YouTubes, we have other people on here. Like there's so many people you can see, the results are undeniable. So now for those of you who want to get on the cutting edge, make a bunch of money educating people, we found a way to monetize education. And we have room for certain people to get on the boat with us. It's not everybody, but for people who are dedicated and passionate and want to make a difference and want to make bank doing it, hit us up, because what you're building in the Bay Area, what we got here in Minneapolis is legendary. And by our next interview, I mean, it's a real force to be reckoned with.
I completely agree. And shout out Thomas Kim, shout out Max, shout out Keith, shout out Maya, Ben, right? Like it's who's and building locally the community. Well, shout out Teddy or Lady in the background, whoever it may
They're going
be.
hype right now.
But the reality of what's in front of us is, as you're saying, right? It's $1.3 trillion education industry, right?
Yeah, every single year. Hang on. Every single year in the US alone, there's $1.3 trillion spent and the numbers going up because automation, AI, all this stuff is changing and people are not prepared for the future. So you can make bank solving that problem.
Correct. And just look at the state of the world, right? It's not ideal, right? And if we were to look at every parent, right, like when we're talking about pre-programming, children when they're born are already being pre-programmed through the alphabet, which turns into words, which turns into sentences and then ideas, right? So parents are right, okay, let's say this. Let's say kids go to school. Does school guarantee, if someone graduates university, are they guaranteed to be a millionaire? Are they guaranteed to be successful?
Not at all.
Not at all, right? So let's just say that kids go to school, right? We can all agree they're fast learners, slow learners, like mid learners, right? What's the differentiating factor? It's parents, right? So we're providing value by sharing with parents, like, hey, like you have a direct influence on your children's success in life. And it's important that you're aware of it. Like, bro, you're about to become a father. Like, can you riff on that a little bit about how it is like preparing to become a father and how you're going to raise your son with TechnoTutor? I think that would be helpful for parents.
Yeah, of course. Well, first, shout out Cameron, Katie, and Avery, and Kim. They taught, specifically though, I met Cameron, Katie, and Avery 3 years ago in Denver at a gin event. Kevin Trudeau, Your Wish Is Your Command, that whole thing. I went there, and that weekend I met Max, their son, and their daughter Seneca. And I've never interacted with a kid like that. I mean, he was 3.5 at the time, having a full-on conversation with me. And that moment, I was like, I need to have that for my kids. I don't have kids yet, but I know I have a goal of having kids. I need my kids to be geniuses because then they'll crush it in the world, right? And then they can make the world be a better place. So from day one, Cameron, he was just straight with me. He's like, look, man, you want to have kids one day? That starts now. I don't care if you don't even have your girlfriend or whatever, you don't have the kid on the way. That starts today. And it made sense, but I asked for further clarification. He explained how deep our programming runs. I mean, we all got stuff from childhood, upbringings, different belief systems, traumas, things like that. That's in us. So thankfully, 3 years ago, I started with TechnoTutor. And like yourself, JJ, I said, no days off. It's not even a choice. I'm just going to do it every day. Just like I eat food every day, like I breathe every day, like I sleep every day, I do my TT every day. And that has made all the difference because now I'm going into it. My wife and I both use TechnoTutor every day. We completely planned the pregnancy. We literally, it was like everything down to the moment we knew when we conceived, and it's like the perfect plan. And I mean, we're sitting in our nice home, right? We got 10 acres of land. I mean, JJ, you came to visit. Like it's an amazing place. And so we got this because we're gonna have an army of kids. And yeah, it's the best thing ever, because I know JJ and everyone in our community, we're all at that phase now where we're have the relationships forming and the community growing, because 5-10 years from now, I mean, it's going to be undeniable what TechnoTutor can do and the advantage that it gets for people. But that starts now, right? Like, don't go thinking you can go wait, especially if you already have kids or you're planning on kids. Take advantage of every day you can to reprogram yourself to be extremely effective. It's the best.
When you said, like, if you want to have kids, that starts now, I resonate with that. I understand that now. Completely get it. Understanding, right? Like, right? We're on a quest for self-perfection, right? To become as flawless as possible. If we were to have kids and not be walking that path, then we're dooming our kids. Like, we're programming our kids incorrectly. So why not start now? Like, why not take the responsibility on now? Right? Like, that makes complete sense to me. And the way I'm processing actually what we're here to do, being actually in person with everyone, and being around you, being around Cameron and Avery, the level of certainty that I have, where I know what my role is, like, that's so important, because that's who, right? Being someone else, being who's in other people's lives, right? Like, it's like, instead of how are we going to create a world that's best for us, like, who do we need to connect with to create a world that's best? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I realized my responsibility, especially in the music industry, right? The entertainment industry. I realized how many people I can affect, like how many people I can influence to do what's best. And that starts with me, right? Like, it all starts by using the tools and actually visibly living the principles, which is why I use TechnoTutor every day. Because if I didn't, my life would go back to sucking, which it did before I got TechnoTutor. Like, I know that, we've spoken, and you can see the change in me because of the results that I've shared with you. Like,
Yeah,
inner change without immediate outer change is a lie. So the vision for the music, the singles coming out August 25th, Death or Destiny. I have a song with two songs with Gem Goldie that are coming out. I have a song with Poncho. And I also have another single. So I have things that are in escrow, essentially. And that's what I want to get everybody, like, hey, I'm really doing this. And I do it for the who's in my life, right? Because I know that's where I'll be most effective, right? So performing in front of the TechnoTutor community. Have you ever been in a place where people had the most fun without any alcohol or drugs? Like,
yeah,
that was the most fun I've ever had in my life. And there was
yeah.
no alcohol or drugs.
Same. And you're up till 3-4 a.m. every night,
Yes.
and just going to just like the point. It's like that point of change within each of us. It's like you can help each other get there and then break through it, because a lot of it's just breakthroughs that we have based on our past limitations, past beliefs, all sorts of stuff. And when you can have that and you can be that who for someone else to help them, and vice versa, we all just leveled up so much as a group. It's like the Navy SEALs. Like, they have this group mind that forms, mastermind, whatever you want to call it, right? If you like the Napoleon Hill stuff, it'd be the mastermind. That's what we have. And it's the most amazing thing I've ever found.
Man, if it wasn't for that, there's no way that I would be certified on Instagram. I can definitively say that.
Oh yeah.
That's the true power of what we're actually doing, right? So if anyone's interested, like, reach out. The links will be below. And definitely tap in with us. because we're not special. I'm not special,
Exactly.
right? Right? But having the vocabulary to understand the way reality works, to undo all of the pre-programming, right, and then override it.
Hmm.
Um, that's it's vital,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I wanted to just ask you as well. Um, as you see what's coming down the pipeline, like what do you what do you do on a daily basis that allows you to make sure you're ready for it, right? Because opportunity passes everyone by every day, right? There's so much money circulating, there's so many opportunities if you have the vocabulary and the programming to see it. So outside of using TechnoTutor every day, like is there like a specific set of like words you're trying to live, or like certain goals that you're focused on? Like what does that look like for you right now?
Absolutely. So I was like, so for instance, we're always accepting the lowest version of ourselves. We're accepting and allowing the lowest version of ourselves unconsciously, because that's the way we were programmed. So every single day, what I do is, right, I'll use my techno tutor, but I'm so clear on my why. Because I'm so clear on the purpose, right? And within that, I understand that every single day we're dying. A little bit, we're dying every single day, right? It's death is pre-programmed from the beginning. We're pre-programmed to die. So I by actually having the vocabulary to process that, it's always um I'm always writing music every single day, right? Like I'm always listening to my own music to perfect my own music every single day. That's all I focus on every single day. Every day, right? Music. Okay, like what do I need to learn? Where do I need to educate myself within the music game? I'm obsessed with music and I'm obsessed with being the greatest. Okay, so who do I need to reach out to? Like, who do I need to connect with in order to fulfill that, right? To realize that, to make real and physical reality. And so every single day, I'm writing music, thinking about what I can do to perfect myself every single day,
Hmm.
whether like music and just life in general, reading books, listening to audios, specific audios too that you and I listen to, right?
Hmm.
Educating ourselves, because it's all about education, right? It's this, right? So by reverse engineering, like, okay, well, let me be aware of what my emotions and my feelings are. And by doing so, I'll be able to process it. And if I'm feeling anything on the tree of evil, I just know I need to educate myself. That's where the books and the audios come in. That's where the relationships come in. That's all I'm focused on every single day, right?
Yeah.
Building the business. It's every single day, because we weren't programmed to run a business. Hey, if we didn't grow up in an elite family, guess what? We've been enslaved to a certain extent, and we
Hmm.
still are enslaved, right? That's why it's a 7-year process,
Hmm.
right? But it's like you're gonna wait 7 years and then do it in the 7 years. Why not just do it?
Right, because it compounds too. So every day you put off, it doesn't just make it one day later that you're going to get your dreams. Like 1 day, 2 days of delay could have made the difference between if that opportunity opened or not. So it's like every day that goes by, I mean, it's just, it's a waste. So for people listening to this, right, you can now see JJ again. He's a living example. He gets the common sense, and he is here to make the world be a place that's best for everyone. And he's got his role, and that's going to involve fame, tons of money, right? World stage, spotlight, all that, right? I'm clear with myself too, what I'm here to do in terms of entrepreneurship, politics, right? Really getting into the heart of the system and changing it. Now, for all y'all listening, you got your role to play too, right? You're a who in this equation. I mean, people who watch through this entire interview, there's a reason, So, JJ, I guess, final message here, what would you tell someone that they can kind of see like this next level of themselves where they can really step up, have an epic life, you know, make a real difference in the world, make a ton of money, have their dreams come true, all that stuff? Like, what would you tell that person to really look at?
The person that's on the edge, right? And I'm going to use a team, like sports analogy, right? You're only as strong as your weakest link, right? And there are 5 people on a basketball team, right? Everyone has their role, like, to win. Don't think that your role in life is nothing. Like, what's happening all across the world, we're playing a direct role in that, right? Just some seeds right there.
Yeah.
Like, we're actually all connected.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why we're so adamant about this, is because if you're slacking off, we're going to let you know because you got a role to play, and you're actually going to enjoy it more when you're crushing it anyway. It's just that programming runs deep, right? So let's change that for everyone. Because as you
So
said, we're programmable beings in a programmable reality. So let's now automate the programming that makes it best for all, right? And you only do that by, you know, I mean, we'll show you the way. So reach out.
right,
Well,
I
cool,
want
man.
to touch on one more thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So, right, we all have basic needs, right? Every single human has the same basic needs, right? Isn't happiness having your basic needs met? Isn't that what everyone's looking for? Equilibrium, happiness, to have your basic needs met, right? By joining the Techno Tutor community, like, I'm on my way, and I wouldn't have been able to if it wasn't for Techno Tutor, because the
Yeah.
most important thing in the world is money, right? And Techno Tutor, right? Make money in Techno Tutor with Techno Tutor by
Yeah.
using the tool or by sharing the tool. So reach out.
Yes. Awesome. Thanks, man. Looking forward to the next one. And in the meantime, keep crushing it.
Thank you.
All right.
Yep.